Carlos Rogers, everybody. Java with Jim. Good morning. We stepped through some of our technical issues, but I'm sure there'll be more, but that adds to the fun. So, good morning, Carlos Rogers, one more time. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, I I was going through some notes about what Carlos does, and goodness, I was typing for a while. So, quick intro. Carlos is instrumental in bringing the Riverton Criterium bike race to town with cyclists from around the world. That's nuts. He's a force within the RDP, the Riverton Dog Park Volunteer Group, who has raised private funds for our town's upcoming and newest amenity, the Riverton Dog Park. He's also part of the RIA, Riverton Improvement Association, which is another volunteer organization within town focused on the natural beautification of our park, war memorial, and downtown area, including the gazebo. And a fun fact that Carlos managed to forget to mention that yesterday.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there, Jim.
We've got it all. We've got it all. So
Yes,
that's great stuff.
it was my birthday yesterday.
It wasn't?
It was my birthday.
Oh, it was your birthday yesterday, 25.
Right, exactly.
Good stuff. Oh, I wasn't as focused on getting our morning sounds going as I was juggling technical difficulties, but I loaded this one in there for you because I figured this would help you get up in the morning.
Oh, yes,
All right.
sure.
So up you go. Up you go. So the Criterium is the one that blows my mind. As I was down there, I was chatting with some of the cyclists, and they're from all over the place. There's some all over the place.
Yeah, well, most of the riders are from generally the tri-state area. They're usually the international riders are kind of stationed in the Lehigh Valley area in Pennsylvania because there's a internationally recognized velodrome, which is a track and a different type of bike racing. So a lot of the riders come from overseas and kind of make that their summer home and do a lot of track racing. And so when there are local criteriums or road races, to get an extra fitness and racing miles, they'll venture out. And so I've been fortunate to get some really great riders over the years here in Riverton, which has been awesome.
Did I see someone who was from Australia last
Yeah, I
year?
had riders from Australia, Sweden, let's see, Germany. We had some riders from Colombia, riders from South America.
Wow.
Trying to
Wow,
think.
wow, wow.
Yeah, so it's great to see the international dimension to the riders and the races here. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
craziness. I've got some themed criterium stuff for you as well. There it is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Hold on, out the way.
That looks great. Oh, that
I
brings
think
back memories,
that's
unfortunately.
Carlos Rogers right there.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
looks like that must be for that looks like maybe it's Pat Brunker.
Okay.
Maybe with possibly introducing the race. That must be for the one of the years that I did the race benefiting the Historical Society. But yeah, unfortunately this year we had to cancel the race due to the pandemic, so that brings a little tightness to my heart there, seeing that picture, wishing we could do it this year. It's just really a great day.
Well, I didn't know that the criterium how many years now? Is it 8?
So this year would have been the 10th year.
Would have been 10.
Yeah, I started it 2011 after moving here in 2008. I believe we moved here from back from New York, and I was out of kind of competitive racing. And the first year back here, we just finding my roots. We were opening our business. And then the next year we adopted our son, and I had thought about the idea, but not having any contacts here and never being a race director, kind of didn't know where to go. And I just kind of asked around a few people for some advice. And, kind of like Java with Jim, Jim, I sat down one night. It was kind of like 2 in the morning. I wrote a 3-page proposal of ideas about putting on the race, and given my experience,
Wow.
was already, obviously 10 or 20 steps ahead of everybody here in Riverton about what needed to happen. Found out about the Borough Hall and council meeting. I went to a council meeting and introduced myself and told them they know nothing about a criterium. And I was way ahead of them, but if they could give me the opportunity to promote it, I knew I could do a good job. And so they thought about it. I came back to the next council meeting, and they let me run with it, as long as I had all of the back end documentation in place. And so the first year was just a wing and a prayer to see how it went. And because I have a number of years in bike racing, I was able to call on friends and fellow racers to promote that I was putting on the race. And
Wow.
here we are 10 years later.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've only been involved to man some of the corners, and
Yeah.
I didn't even realize what a tremendous giant, serious, real deal that is.
Yeah.
Those folks come by those corners, they're moving.
Yeah,
They're moving.
definitely.
They're the real deal.
Yeah. And it's been a bit of an uphill.
I get it.
I didn't even see, Jim. That's how quick you are. It's been a bit of an uphill to kind of educate the residents and surrounding area about what a criterium is, the seriousness of it, and just opening up people's eyes to this sport. A lot of people think it's just riding a bike, or where can I sign up, or
right.
Confused about the course. It's only just a little less than 1 mile. How is that a race? So you have to really come and see the event to understand what it's all about, and the fact that there are different levels of racing, and that's why we have different categories. It's sanctioned under USA Cycling. So there's a lot of education involved. And then obviously during the race, kind of explain the tactics to the folks watching, so they kind of understand what's going on. Why is that rider ahead? And is he
Right.
winning? Or what, why did that rider drop
Right.
out? Was he tired, or those types of things?
It's tremendous. It's
A lot of
tremendous.
nuances. Yeah.
Never want to see anything but folks slipping by. Maybe I guess that was my thought, but I saw a couple folks maybe lose their wheels a little bit. I guess that's the nature of racing. Everybody was all good, and it was handled so professionally, as you expect nothing else. I am curious. You use this race as a benefit to town, and can you give me some examples of the
Sure.
beneficiaries of the?
Yeah. I mean, the first year, not knowing how I was going to come up with the funds to really promote the race. And ultimately, my goal was never to make a profit on it, since I was asking sponsors to give their money to put the race on. Didn't feel right, taking that money essentially and the race entry fees and putting it in my own pocket. And in reality, whatever money I made, what would I do with that? Take a vacation, retire. So after the first
Buy a bigger
year,
bike.
Yeah, right. I don't know that I've ever considered myself philanthropic minded. I mean, I believe in helping others as much as I can. And so after the first year, I just went back to the borough and I said, look, here I have about $1,000 that I had made while keeping some petty cash in the account. I like to give $500 to Memorial Park. Do whatever you want with it. And I think I gave $300 at that time to the Shade Tree Commission.
I think I've
actually,
seen some pictures of some pretty big checks going to the Historic Society, the Porch
so
Club.
after that, exactly, and that was just a good faith show to the borough that I was trying to give back. And so after that, because I'm the CFO, CEO, race director, race promoter, I
A lot
make
of
all the
hats.
decisions. Over the years, I've had some uh, uh, people, suggest various organizations and help me find out more about different organizations. So I've raised more money over the year, and over the years I've given money to the Pal Riv Athletic Association, the Riverton Fire Company, the Historical Society, the Riverton PTO, the Riverton School. I gave money for their a new educational library to
Tremendous.
purchase books. Um,
Absolutely
oh,
tremendous.
the Bread of
No,
Life Food Pantry was one I was very proud of. I didn't um, know about them, and that was the first time I gave, I think, $5,000, and that was I think the first time I really felt that what a difference I was making. I think that was almost their whole budget for the year,
oh,
and so that was a good feeling. And so
it's
it just kind of
it's
went from
tremendous. And
there.
to me, it seems like it happens largely behind the scenes. That's why I was so excited to have Carlos Rogers on, share the kinds of things that, folks to to realize, understand, appreciate the kind of tremendous stuff and individuals who make our town great. I'm going to jump from your uh, your ability to fundraise, and we're going to jump into the dog park, which you're also instrumental in. So as councilman, I'm familiar with a bit of the track that's existed
Yeah,
from some while ago, where you proposed to the town a dog park, and there's mechanisms in place, and the method or the plan was that the Riverton Dog Park Association, of which you are, is it president? Is it fair to say president? You're just one of
yep.
the
We're also
lead
a federal.
cats, lead dogs there.
Yeah,
So you raised all the money privately. You could be anywhere in town or around the town and see the donation little bins at the cash registers. You see signs all over, and I think the park came in. Looks like we lost our feed again. This is fun stuff, but um, so you raised the funds privately, and you are now, I guess we together are at a place where enough funds were raised to support the entire budget of the project. And we're now in um, the phase right before, so all the design work is done. It's actually at a different location than it was originally. And now we are at a place where it's, I guess it's the municipal bid project or process. And looks like we might have a dog park maybe
yeah.
before
Now,
the
if
end of this summer.
you can get your fancy podcast here to have a dog park picture behind you,
You know what?
that
I
would be
ran out of
great.
time.
You know, that's
I was
I'm a little
gonna.
disappointed there.
I
That's
was
also been a
sorry.
passionate project
Sorry.
I've been working
We.
on.
How
Yeah,
about this?
yeah.
This is like being outside,
There you
uh,
go. I feel
down in the
comfortable.
weeds.
That's perfect. That's terrific. Yeah, the dog park um, kind of morphed from, I guess, my proven ability to organize after doing the bike race. I'm very detail oriented, um, and I we had gotten a dog ourselves, Ruby, French bulldog pug mix. You may have seen her around town,
I have
and
awesome
yeah,
doggy.
I I just came up with the idea that we need a dog park, and that was a number of years ago. And you know, didn't realize the journey that it would take me on to get to
Hmm.
this point. It's been a steep learning curve of working with the municipality, and all the details associated with. I mean, ultimately, it's a privately funded municipal project. So that means while it's been great to have all the volunteer donations, we can't use volunteers to build the park.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's where the shift came a few years
Hmm.
ago. And so we've been working with the borough one step at a time to make sure that all the details are covered, because it's a new um, it's a new project for the town, and
Yeah,
I think the town wants to make sure they get it right, which I
sure.
respect. Yeah.
My understanding is that there's never been a project that has been done that is fully privately funded on municipal land here in Riverton. I'm sure it's been happening. It's happened in other
Yeah, I'm
places.
not aware. I'm
Hmm.
so grateful. I mean, we um, started out with a group of volunteers, and ultimately, um, over the years, because it has proceeded at a bit of a slower pace, some of those people have maybe drifted off and just followed from afar. And so it's
Hmm. They're getting
um,
their energy up, ready to jump back in. That's what it is.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
So the onus, I guess, has kind of fallen on me. Um, and again, it's just kind of I guess if you're passionate about something, and you don't see why it can't work for other people, why not to pursue the effort? I wouldn't say this is my dream to build a dog park in Riverton, nor was it my dream to start a bike race. But um, I guess moving here into Riverton, a small town, feels like it's much easier to work with people to get things done rather than a large town or city.
Well,
So
I know certainly more so from the dog park than the criterium that there's lots of energy that is around the idea. I remember the night that the project ultimately got voted on. I don't think there was a spot that could have fit one more resident in the borough council hall. Everybody very interested in the project. Lots of support. I myself don't have a dog, but
you're the
all the
only one.
research.
I mean,
I don't have a dog or a boat.
there
Two
are
things you need to.
so many people in Riverton, and that you see walking around in Palmyra, that have dogs. It's really great to see.
Yeah.
And I'm a dog lover, but I'm not a dog. What's the word? I'm not crazy dog
Not a
guy
crazy.
with paw prints, wallpaper, and things like that. I just think it's a cool idea, and why should we have to drive out of town to go to a dog park if we can
Yeah.
have one here?
Yep. Yep. It's just another great amenity of a town with such character and beauty and uniqueness. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. Um, I'm staring at the clock just a
All
little
right.
bit. I know I said I would take about 30 minutes of your time, and it seems like 29 of it has been juggling technical issues. But
No problem.
our third big item is the RIA. You, I don't recall, but Carlos Rogers, like as I say, Carlos Rogers does a project in town. Give me a call, and I'd love to pitch in. And that's where I became
Yeah.
involved with the RIA, of which you're so instrumental yourself, Paul Grena, and others. So give us a little bit about the work that the RIA does in
Yeah,
town.
sure. First of all, it's not my um, uh, let me backtrack. The Riverton Improvement Association has been around for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Grena is the president, who's been since, I believe, the beginning, or maybe he took it over. I don't know quite the history.
Yeah, another
But
tremendous energy in town for sure.
yeah, yeah, and a lot of independently funded, primarily by Paul. Um, and I was asked by him, I guess, from my uh, from from my involvement with the bike race, and being somewhat active, just doing little things on my own. Hey, would you like to come to a meeting and be involved? Um, and so I went to a meeting, and certainly I was interested in doing things to whatever I could to support whatever improvements, which is in the name,
Right.
around town. It seemed like a natural continuation of the things I like to do. Um, and it's kind of in a way where I lose my mind. I get to do things and tinker. Some people like to knit. Some people like to read comics. Some people like to,
Rake leaves.
whatever. Yeah. And if it's, I really believe in kind of looking good and feeling good. And if you can do things to spruce up the community that people take note of, or maybe don't even realize, but something kind of, instead of pointing out something that's maybe not looking good, there's an air about it that they feel good because something good has been done. And so at that time, primarily the main, when I joined, the main project was the annual spring cleanup.
Right.
And there are only really a handful of committed volunteers. I think there are people on the outskirts. If you ask when and where, they'll show up.
Right.
But it's been hard to get the Riverton Improvement Association onto the desktops and people's minds of people around town.
Yeah.
Um,
I think if I could interject my own thoughts, I think that those kinds of energies end up that way, not because anybody has any feeling that they don't wish to be involved, but maybe it's this effort that we're in now is the sharing of that knowledge. Often, I know I'll talk to folks and they, oh, I didn't know it was a cleanup day. So we're just trying to get the word out.
yeah.
And I think it starts there. Every time there's a cleanup, whether it's a fall, whether it's a spring, doesn't matter what folks are doing. They're on their knees or pulling weeds. They're moving wheelbarrows full of mulch. They love it. Folks walk by, didn't know you were here. So I think it's about getting the message out, and I think it's tremendous. There have not been lots and lots and lots of folks, but I think it is because of maybe they just don't know it's
Absolutely.
out there.
Yeah.
So
And I
glad
think
you're with
some
us.
of the work that the RIA has done, people may think that it's the borough's responsibility to do things in certain areas, but people have to understand that we have limited resources within our public works department
Mm-hmm.
that they sometimes can't do with the manpower that they have, some of the upkeep that needs to be done.
Commercial timeout though. Our public works team are unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
We're in a pandemic right now. Their faces are out there. They've gone through steps so that they're not in trucks at the same time, but they're still out there making the town beautiful.
First to lend
Keith
a
and his
hand. Yep.
team are absolutely tremendous. Doesn't
Yep.
matter if there's 12 feet of snow or 12 feet of leaves, they're on it. And kudos to them.
Oh
sure.
yeah, I mean we are. I'm not much of a religious person, but I'll use the word blessed. We're blessed to have such committed.
Amen. I don't
Town
have an
workers.
amen here. I should have an amen. Oh, you know what? You know what I do have though?
Yeah, let's.
That's
give it
right.
up.
That's
Give
right.
that
That's
our
for the
public
team.
works.
That's for the team for sure.
So yeah, so over the years we've expanded the various projects. Actually, right now I've hopefully tomorrow night at the council meeting I'll get approval for an idea that my wife actually had to build a bench in the gazebo, mirroring the shape of the gazebo for people to sit.
Socially distanced.
Yes. Well,
Or
hopefully by the time it's built, there'll be some.
we'll be past this challenge.
Yeah, but that's having a bench for people to sit and gather is great. So I got another volunteer contractor in town who offered his services, since it had to be a licensed contractor,
Okay.
and that'll be submitted tomorrow night to council meeting. But let's see, we've also trying to think, we've done stuff at the park.
Well, the park, the War Memorial, the gazebo, downtown, watering plants, installing plants, mulching plants, keeping them healthy during the season.
Yeah.
There might be big days that happen on this day and that day when there's change of seasons, but you see the teams out there. Whether it's Dolly was a big involved member.
McDermott's Bill and
Paul,
Pat McDermott.
Councilwoman Laura Major has been a big part of.
She's our treasurer, and she's done a great job. She set up our website.
Yep.
And Julianne Warnock comes out for the cleaning plantings.
Helen Mack is always there.
Helen Mack is there. Rita Vitesse and her husband.
Billy McDermott.
Bill Brown when he's available.
Bill Brown. That's right.
So
Members of council are often out there.
Definitely some people who've been around town for a while, are committed to making the town look better. So again, it's a nonprofit. The funds are limited. For the first time this past winter, we worked with the borough to hang the winter baskets on the light polls. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but
I didn't know that.
yeah,
I
they
know
were
that.
curated by Laura Major and can't remember who else, but we got about 8 or 10 winter baskets full of winter greens that were hanging for about 3 months, 3 or 4 months from, or maybe 3 months or so. And the summertime is unfortunate. It's hard to keep up with the watering, but we're always thinking about ways that we could possibly um, improve the look and feel of that.
Carlos, was the energy that your wife was involved in, Adrian, and I think it was Laura, right? And Mayor Carnes-Wells, um, the winter decorations, was that an
Oh, that's right.
RIA
Yeah.
supported energy, or
That was no a kind of a side thing.
okay,
My
an
wife,
offshoot of energies?
yeah, exactly. My wife, I think, shies away from the spotlight a bit, but came up with the idea that we should have I love to decorate the tree. She's very into um, crafting and making things pretty, and has a
That was a
very specific aesthetic. And so work with the borough to give us the opportunity and a few other neighbors to decorate the tree. And
it
I think
was
that was a nice uplift during the wintertime,
that
Christmas.
was a beautiful. It was there during the season, and the night that I recall, I think it was going to be a lighting, and Santa stopped by, and it was a tremendous night. It was beautifully done. There were people, throngs all over, music playing. It was a great event, and it was all spearheaded by those 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 energies in town.
Yeah,
And
that's really
it's
what it's all
wonderful.
about. For example, the volunteer Mike Cohen from Colonial Concepts, who's going to shameless plug there,
There you
uh,
go. That's what
is
we're about.
is going to be offering his services when I look for volunteers to help us with this project. And speaking to him, he's like, I've always really want to get involved. I just don't know how. I don't really know how this works. And I said, well, this is a great first step. You do something, you get your face out there, you meet people who are
Yeah.
involved, you learn the process of things to do. And that's really what it takes. It's not for everybody. Not everybody
No,
wants to put on a bike race. Not everybody wants to build a dog park. Not everybody wants to build a gazebo bench or get on their hands and knees and pull weeds. Um,
but I think what you've shown though is that there's a place in there for anyone who wants to help at any capacity. So you may not be the one with the idea or the time to engage with the borough or the process, but maybe you've got time that day to pull those weeds, or maybe you've
yeah,
got time to be a guard at one of the intersections, which I've done for a couple years now. So it's a great volunteer town. You do great volunteer work within it. I'm tickled that you would join us. I had some more movie magic for you. Um, we
oh
could
yes,
use a little bit of that,
my
right?
favorite. Looks like if that's the Caribbean, I'd love to be there.
This is that's right. That's what we need. A little bit of that warmth, a little bit of that sun, and we
Yeah.
even have one of these.
Oh, there you go, showing our beautiful town.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Beautiful town.
Yes.
Beautiful town.
Yeah.
All right. Well, back to my beautiful dining room. So, Carlos, thanks for being here. Thanks for powering through our technical issues, but that's the beauty of live.
Yeah.
Who does it without a net like this? Nobody. So, a parting note, as I had it around here somewhere. Council meeting tomorrow, third Tuesday, 7:00. We don't have the Borough Hall open for folks to come there, but we've got a conference call that I did jot down the number for and then lost. Here it is, 856-829-6840, passcode 1234#. You're going to announce your name, and then hopefully you'll join us. Maybe put the phone on mute and engage. Right now it's a conference call. Maybe there's opportunities to engage at greater levels as we come to understand technologies that might be able to help our residents be part of the process at whatever level they wish to. So Carlos, thanks for being here. Little
You got
outro
it.
music.
Here we go.
And then you know what we do? We fade right into, because you got to, because it's Carlos's birthday. Come on now. Technology.
A little bit of Dolma.
Hey, to Carlos. Carlos, thanks for being here.
You got it, Jim.
You're a blast.
Anytime. All right.
See you, buddy.
Catch you later.
Java with Jim, Councilman Jim Quinn. That's me. Carlos, that's him right there. Not sure where he is on your screen.
All right.
Carlos, thanks for your time.
Have a great day. Take
See ya.
care.
Bye-bye.